Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Victory Monday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and wow, what a game that was yesterday. Not calling it good, not necessarily calling it bad. It was ugly. That certainly is the truth. It certainly was an ugly game on both fronts by both teams, but there is a ton to talk about, and thankfully we are talking about it today with the Steelers getting out of New England with a win. Mike Tomlin enters his house of horrors, where he has only had one win in 6 tries. He is now 2-7 all time in Gillette Stadium as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. So what do we do now? We do what we always do here. We will recap the Steelers versus the Patriots game here in a couple of moments. We will talk about some winners and losers of that game, some interesting stats in there as well. What's on the docket next, that being the Minnesota Vikings next weekend in Ireland. Any other, loose notes about the game, all of that and much more we will get to, along with some other Pittsburgh sports news topics. There's some things to talk about the baseball team. They just had their final home series of the year. And also the Pittsburgh Penguins, they tonight in action for their first preseason game. So tons to talk about here tonight. If you are new here to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live or upload a video again. Also, I would appreciate it if you smash that like button, share this live stream so we can continue getting more viewers in here, and also leave a comment in the comments section. Any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have, get those in there. We already have a commenter in the section here. It is Steelers Prods number 57. Welcome back. He says, yo, just to let me know that he is in here. Welcome back, as always. And if you also want to, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Instagram, Facebook, and X. And be sure to come back later tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, lots to get into here today, so let's just dive right in with the big one, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers getting a very elusive and ugly win in New England yesterday. We talked about it a bunch heading into this weekend's game. Mike Tomlin, all-time as Steelers head coach, 3-10 against the New England Patriots. He is 1-5 on the road in New England. So cards, the deck stacked against him. He did, however, also go into that game with a 3-0 record against Mike Vrabel in a head coaching duel. So looking into the game yesterday, Steelers went in with an all-time low in the optimism department. Last weekend, there was a fiasco against the Seattle Seahawks. The Steelers, they never win in Foxborough. And the defense banged up with injuries. The Steelers yesterday down Deshaun Elliott, down Joey Porter Jr., Alex Highsmith as well. The Patriots, however, they too were injuring on defense a little bit. They were without Christian Gonzalez, their top corner. None of that bothered the Steelers early, however, those defensive injuries. The defense forced a fumble and recovered it on the opening drive of the game. The Steelers thanked the defense by marching right down the field for an opening drive TD. That drive mainly carried off of the legs of Jaylen Warren. This was the second time this season that the Steelers offense has scored a touchdown on their opening drive. Remember when those things used to be a myth. And they have now put up points in all 3 games this season on the opening drive. So that's at least one thing we can put in the old positive department for this Steelers offense. They do get off to hot starts, so we are thankful for that. The Steelers defense then back out there on the field. The Patriots, little success on their second offensive drive as well. They needed to punt the ball. Derek Harmon, rookie defensive end, first-round pick out of Oregon, his first NFL regular season game after suffering that injury in the final preseason game. He was out there. One of his first snaps of the game, he records a sack, so that was very exciting to see. Steelers offense, again, did their thing. Took them a little bit longer this time, and it was a little bit tougher to do, but a 90-yard touchdown drive capped off by Aaron Rodgers finding DK Metcalf at the beginning of the second quarter. That, ladies and gentlemen, was a history-making touchdown throw. Aaron Rodgers now has 509 passing touchdowns for his career. That moves him solely into fourth place ahead of Brett Favre on the all-time passing touchdowns list. So congratulations to Aaron Rodgers there. Also, something I saw yesterday that I did not mention on yesterday's game stream. He's not only now fourth all-time in passing touchdowns, he also moved past Phillip Rivers yesterday for the sixth most passing yards in NFL history. So, A-Rod, congratulations to him there. After that, saw a tiny bit of the momentum shift. The Patriots responded with a touchdown of their own on the following drive. I thought it really wasn't that legitimate. Brandon Echols, he got called for a non-existent DPI. In my opinion, there was no grabbing the arms between him and the Patriots wide receiver. They weren't really all that tangled. If that's DPI, might as well throw the flag on every single, shot down the sideline now, because I certainly did not see it. That terrible DPI call was one of the turning points in the ball game, like I said, as the Steelers offense went 3 and out. Then the Patriots, they went on a slow drive down the field again. Looked like that they were going to put up points to tie the game, or at least put up points before halftime. But Cam Hayward, Captain Cam, welcome back, I will say on behalf of all Steelers fans. He makes a big play, gets a couple of fingers on a Drake May pass, slows down the velocity of the ball. Brandon Echols steps in front of the intended receiver, picks it off, and the game goes into half. Steelers up 14-7. The Patriots, after halftime, they return the favor. Former Steeler Robert Spillane, he had an interception and set New England up with excellent field position. Again, Patriots right on the doorstep, ready to tie this ball game up. Cam Hayward, again, welcome back, makes a big play. Ramondre Stevenson tries to plow through some bodies to get into the end zone. Captain Cam pops the ball loose. Peyton Wilson falls on top of it in the end zone for a touchback. No points for the Patriots there. That case of fumbleitis that started with patient zero, Ramondre Stevenson, that spread to others on the Patriots. Steelers offense, 3 and out again. Another Patriots running back, Antonio Gibson, he takes over as the main guy for that drive. He too fumbles. TJ Watt having himself a hell of a game yesterday. I guess we can say welcome back to him too. More on that in a little bit. He gets the punch out, and former Patriot Jabril Peppers looking to get some revenge against his old team. I said it pregame yesterday. I want to see him have a big play against his old team. He said he wanted to do that as well. Getting that recovery certainly did the trick. Again, the Steelers offense off of another turnover. They spoil that opportunity. I think that at that point was their third straight 3 and out. And to begin the fourth quarter, the Patriots finally tying the game. Drake May, a touchdown pass to Hunter Henry on 4th and 2. A horrendous blown coverage there by the defense. Similar situation. Steelers couldn't do anything offensively. Patriots get the ball back in Steelers territory. But again, saving the day, number 90, this time with his Wisconsin Badger brethren, Nick Herbig. Those two combined for the fumble caused by Herbig and the recovery by Watt. Steelers, one last chance on offense. They finally, after they originally were 1 for 1, capitalizing on turnovers with the opening offensive drive, they went another 3 turnovers without putting up any sort of points off of them. They finally click a little bit. 9 plays, 62 yards. Calvin Austin, he caps it off with a back shoulder catch down the sideline for a touchdown. Beautiful pass by Rodgers, put it right on the money. Great job by Austin adjusting. Corner had no chance of defending it. Back up by a touchdown, the Steelers defense had to make one final stand. Even though up by a touchdown, they had to do it one last time. It was a lot to ask for them, but they did it. A better late than never stop on 4th down. Brandon Echols, who picked the ball off earlier, he gets the rare 4th down stop, making another great play. Wide receiver Demario Davis for the Patriots catches the ball, is pretty much right at the line to gain to get the 1st down. Instead, pulls a Deontay Johnson, runs backwards. Eccles trips him up at the legs. He goes down. Ball game. Couple of kneel downs for the Steelers. They escape another road venue with a 1-score lead and victory. 21-14 right there, ladies and gentlemen, your final score. And usually, I mean, you might still be able to tell it by my voice. Usually, you're fired up for games like this, but it's really hard to, be like, hell yeah, that was the game we needed to see. This team, for once, clicking on all cylinders, getting a win. They were far from it. That was a really tough game to watch at times. The Steelers squandered many opportunities, both offensively and defensively. They still have a lot to figure out. But hey, as Mike Tomlin says, better to work on your problems with the win instead of a loss. To the comment section we go. 7 of you in here right now. Get any instant reactions that you have to the Steelers win over the Patriots yesterday in the comment section. We go to a new but still reoccurring viewer of ours, Al the Prowl. Glad they won. We met a team just as bad as us. Yeah, that game was... I answered this question on yesterday's game day stream. It was, do the Steelers really deserve to win this game? And I don't think it was, who deserved to win more. I think it was, who really deserved to lose the game more than who deserved to win it. Patriots certainly deserved to lose that game more. 5 turnovers, an interception, and 4 fumbles. That was not good football by them. I'm sure Mike Vrabel is going to have those guys carrying around footballs 24 hours a day until their next game. So, yeah, Steelers did meet a team. Steelers, I think, still are a mediocre team right now. They unfortunately just met a team that kept stubbing their toe more than they did. So lucky to get out with the win there. The real Patriots are back. The Patriots before Brady, LOL. Not going to say that the Brady era Patriots are back here. I will say though, even though he had the fumble, impressed with Drake May. Did not really see him coming out of the draft a couple years ago as a guy with really, you can clearly see this guy has intangible qualities like upper 90th percentile things at, one skill or another. But I will say, does his job, very smart, again, is very much more elusive than I thought heading into yesterday's game. So Drake May, I think he is going to be one of those guys that kind of fits that Patriots mold. He's not going to, beat you with some super good skill, but he is going to dink and dunk you. He's going to be calculated in taking his shots, and he's going to beat you up here more than he beats you with physical gifts. So the Patriots, the real Patriots are back. The Patriots before Brady. So you're saying, the old Patriot days back when they were really bad. I won't say that. I do think that they are still a team on the rise. Drake May showed a lot. That defense of the Patriots still underrated. They had a couple of chances to force, nearly as many turnovers as the Steelers defense made yesterday, but they didn't. So Patriots still a team on the rise. I think we just, escaped with the victory more than anything. Out of the Prowl there. Cam is awesome. Yeah. I think that was Cam saying, all right, you guys made fun of me for about a month and a half now. I wanted more money. You guys really got on my ass for that, saying this is Pittsburgh. We're hardworking. You already signed your contract. I'm Cam Hayward here. You already yelled at me for that. First 2 games, I'm pretty much invisible. I had a tip pass that resulted in an INT last weekend. Sure, you guys said that was a good play, but still are hard on me. Cam finally back to Captain Cam things, what we are expecting of him. Getting his hands up active in the pass game. Another tip pass. That's 2 in a row now. 2 weeks in a row where he's tipped the ball that's gotten picked. And also on top of it, got to the backfield. I think had at least half a sack with Derek Harmon. And then also Cam with the fumble at the goal line, punching that loose from Ramondre Stevenson. That was huge from him as well. Couple other things here from Al on the Prowl. Hate the Pats. I remember the Cordell Stewart game in the 90s. He literally beat the Patriots by himself. Like, shared, and subbed. Good show. You're honest about Steelers. Thank you, Al. I appreciate that. I try to be the voice of what Steelers Nation is feeling. I add in my 2 cents as well. But yeah, this game yesterday, you get the win. A win is a win, but in this case, kind of hard again to see that. Still lots of things to work on here. With that, ladies and gentlemen, gonna stick with the ball game here, but change gears a little bit. Instead of talking about what happened in the game, let's talk about the winners and losers of that game yesterday. Today, this morning, did a little bit of watching back of the game yesterday and came up with some winners and losers. I think I got 3 winners and 3 losers here. Let's start off with a winner here. We just talked about them there. Al on the prowl a little bit. You said it. Cam is awesome. He's one of my winners here. The big defensive money makers, TJ Watt and Cam Hayward. They are winners to start off this segment here. As the saying goes, defense wins you games. And while that is true, mostly true, especially for yesterday's game, these two certainly deserve the biggest credit. I think a stat got put out there ahead of this past weekend's game that TJ Watt has not had a single sack in his last 6 games. He responded in a big way yesterday. Watt, game wrecker, looked like it back when he was in contention for DPOY all the time. 2 sacks, 5 total tackles, 2 for a loss, 1 forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Excellent stuff from him. Continue it, please. You're still going to need to be the guy that gets to the backfield more than anyone else on this line. Please do not go another 6 games without a sack, TJ. That is all we are asking here. Cam, like we said, also a vintage performance with him. 6 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 sack, 1 pass defense that resulted in the Brandon Echols INT. There were a couple of other solid performances to talk about from yesterday. Cole Holcomb, he had a bigger role yesterday. I thought he played fairly solid. Jabril Peppers, the recovery against his old squad. Nick Herbig, 8 pressures, I think, according to PFF, plus a strip sack. Derek Harmon, he had a sack, the first of hopefully many in his NFL career. But even with all those guys doing their things, when your leaders are making big plays throughout a game like that, you're going to win more games than you don't. So that was very encouraging to see from especially those two. Lots of questions about them and their production so far this year. Hopefully that is a sign of more of that to come, and it's not just a one-off, say, when we come back a week or so from now. Real quick to the comment section again, Al on the prowl, would be nice if Detroit could beat the Ravens. Yeah, that game certainly going to be on my TV here once we are off the air here this evening. Detroit against Ravens. Is that game in Baltimore or is it in Detroit? That's the one thing I do not know. Al on the prowl, I think we can beat the Vikings. Well, that makes one of us there, Al. I'm going to get to the Vikings here later on in the program. Do not think that I am going to just cast them off until later. Okay, that game is in Baltimore. Then, yeah, it'll be tough for Detroit, but, hopefully they can pull one out for us. Take out the Ravens tonight. I think we can beat the Vikings. Going to get to them in a minute. That makes one of us. I am very, very nervous about this game coming up next weekend in Ireland. Back to the winners and losers of yesterday's game against the Patriots. Loser, I think this one is very easy. Arthur Smith, Steelers offensive coordinator. You can cite multiple different problems with the offense from that game yesterday. Firstly, this one kind of ties into the defense as well, but looking at the box score, the Steelers, they should have been blown out by multiple scores to the Patriots yesterday, let alone, win a game. The Patriots, they dominated at times on offense, but they kept stubbing their toes. Total yards in the game, New England's offense, 368 yards. The Steelers, 202 total plays offensively. The Patriots with 71, the Steelers with 49. The defense, they did a lot of bending, but they didn't break, and they got a couple of turnovers. Off of those turnovers, the Steelers, many 3-and-outs. Again, it reminded you of Matt Canada back as offensive coordinator. All I'm saying here, Arthur Smith, he better have bought the entire defense steak dinners for keeping them in that ball game and, still keeping it with the Steelers with the lead for most of that ball game yesterday, because the play calling was absolutely horrendous, especially in the second half. Hot start, sure. Steelers offense is notorious right now for getting off the hot starts. But then for the rest of the game, it was a rinse and repeat cycle of plays. Run, screen, run, screen pass, run, screen. You had the occasional go route down the sideline as well that, either was incomplete or you drew pass interference on. But it was the same thing over and over again. Same play calls and same results. It was very, very nauseating. There we go. Did a refresh there, ladies and gentlemen, of my screen here. Hopefully that comes across clearer on your end now. But yeah, just back to Arthur Smith. It was the same stuff over and over again. It was really getting annoying. I was like, oh, watch here. Here comes the screen. Here comes the run. And to the comment section here, out on the prowl, Warren is not tremendously fast, but he is effective. Using him in the flat is helping our running game right now. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, Jaylen Warren, he made a lot of that. And on some certain cases, he made chicken crap into chicken salad. Like there was one play, I think it was on that touchdown drive late in the game. He, in the flat, got the ball. It was one of those screen passes, but I don't think anybody leaked out to block for him. Made two Patriots missed, made one move, and then was gone. He doesn't have, top end speed, Jaylen Warren, but he does have that burst where he can be in front of you 1 second and then, 10 yards behind you the next. So Warren did make a lot of that look good yesterday, in my opinion. But Arthur Smith, his play calling and all that, very suspect. Sure, there were some miscommunications between Aaron Rodgers and a couple of his receivers that, aided in those many 3-and-outs, but questionable game plan, questionable play calls against a defense that didn't have much star power, and they were down their top corner as well. Not good. Not good. Sort of transitioning here into my next winner. Maybe the quick screens and the runs were to protect the Steelers' offensive line. I have them as a winner from yesterday. Similar to the entire offense, the Steelers' O-line, first quarter, absolutely imposed their will on the Patriots' defense. They were blowing linebackers and defensive linemen off the line of scrimmage. That's what helped get the running game going in the first quarter. And then steady decline after that for the rest of the game. Sure, the running game became less effective as the game wore on, and Aaron Rodgers still took a couple of big hits. But let's stick with the positives here with the Steelers' offensive line. Heading into yesterday's game, the Patriots, they were leading the NFL in sack percentage and in sacks with 9. And this offensive line, I think they have given up at least, 3 sacks in each of the first 2 games. 0 sacks allowed yesterday. Aaron Rodgers not sacked a single time. That is a massive positive for the Steelers' offensive line, even though the game plan that Arthur Smith put in was probably to protect them. Also, according to NFL's Next Gen Stats, no Steelers offensive lineman allowed more than 1 pressure. Zach Frazier and Isaac Seumalo, 0 pressures. So, simple math. Fautanu, McCormick, and Broderick Jones, those guys only giving up 1 pressure yesterday. Solid outing for the offensive line. We can come on here and still critique all the other things that they are still struggling to do, but a performance in pass protection like that, where you have had some struggles early on this season. Bit of a breath of fresh air there. However, Al on the prowl, saw you put it in there. Think you can beat the Vikings. That is one of the issues that I have. They have an elite defense with a fantastic pass rush. More on that here in a little bit. This will be the greatest test for the Steelers' offensive line yet, and will probably be one of the biggest ones of the season coming up in Ireland. So let's wait and see if this pass protection thing that the offensive line got certainly better at yesterday, if that will be sustainable. On to my second loser of yesterday's ball game between the Steelers and the Patriots. I'm going to go away from the Steelers here. It's hard not to put these guys as a loser, regardless of what side of the matchup you're on. The Patriots running backs, they were pretty bad yesterday. I'll admit it. I hyped that group up heading into yesterday's game, especially after their performance in week 2 against the Miami Dolphins. But yeesh, they're not only probably the biggest losers of yesterday's game, they're probably one of the biggest losers of the entire weekend across the NFL. Their lead back, Ramondre Stevenson, 2 fumbles, one on the opening drive that resulted in a touchdown, and then one at the goal line when they were looking to tie the game up. That gonna be demoralizing for not just him, but for the team as a whole. After that, he was pretty much benched for Antonio Gibson. Gibson took over, had a little bit of success, had some solid runs up the middle, but then he fumbled as well. After that, Patriots, they turned things over to their second-round rookie, Trevion Henderson. And if my memory serves me right, I think the Steelers did a good job bottling him up. I think he was held to, just 2-yard gains at most on most of his runs. So solid job by the Steelers, punching the ball out and holding Henderson to little gains. The Steelers defense here, gave up 119 yards on the ground. But when you give these guys fumbleitis that bad, really, puts anything else, what you gave up on the ground, out of mind. You can bend, but do not break. Get the ball back. I'm going to take it. My last winner here, before I get to the last loser of the game that I have here. My last winner, sticking with the Steelers here, Brandon Echols. This guy, probably the most underrated addition of the offseason. He was, brought in before Jalen Ramsey was brought in. He was looked at as the guy to take over slot duties over Beanie Bishop. And so far this season, after they traded for Jalen Ramsey, and they still have Darius Slay, so you got some star power there. He's been overshadowed or overlooked a bit. But yesterday, he reminded us that he can make plays. And having the game-winning tackle and an interception that literally took points away from the Patriots, that is going to get you a winner in just about every single game. I'm not going to hold my breath here that performance is going to turn Brandon Echols into some sort of superstar, but if he can continue making plays like that more than once in a while, maybe have a solid play a game, end up getting his hands on a ball every other game, that will go a long way in stabilizing this questionable secondary. And the final thing here, my final loser of the ball game, that is the Steelers coaching staff as a whole, and the players, I guess, just the Steelers in general, and the middle of the field. That is some place that is like no man's land here for the Steelers. We kind of covered this a little bit talking about Arthur Smith with his runs and screens and deep shots down the sidelines. Steelers, yesterday especially, didn't use the middle of the field all that much. But that problem now, we got to realize the Steelers, they have a middle of the field problem on defense as well. I couldn't keep track of how many times I saw the Steelers give up 8 to 14-yard gains in the middle of the field to tight ends and wide receivers, especially Hunter Henry. Like, how the hell do you let Hunter Henry go off on you like that. It's absolutely terrible, and it's even worse when the Steelers defense, they run a 3-4 scheme, so they always got, two middle linebackers out there more often than not. They drop them back into coverage. How do you just let Hunter Henry or a slot receiver go out there, run a, 6-7 yard route, stop, and then catch the ball completely uncontested, and then get maybe a couple of extra yards off of that? It was absolutely sickening to watch. That exact problem caused the Steelers to give up the game-tying touchdown to Hunter Henry, and this is something that has been a problem and an issue for them for the first 3 games of the season, and it's a big contributor to the Steelers' defense giving up 1,158 net yards of offense so far this year. So they really need to improve upon that big time. Both sides of the ball, please use the middle of the field more. Watching that game yesterday and the Patriots just dink and dunk their way down the field at times with those nice catch and goes in the middle of the field makes me very, very nervous about the Steelers going up against the Vikings here on Sunday. They're going to need to cover TJ Hawkinson, Josh Oliver, the backup tight end for the Vikings, who caught a touchdown pass yesterday. I think Adam Thielen, they put him in the slot a little bit, so it's going to be a hell of a challenge here for the Steelers against the Vikings. Real quick, just a couple of extra notes here before we move on from the game yesterday for the Steelers. Some snap count things right here. Let's see here. Running back snap counts. The Steelers yesterday, they elevated Trey Sermon, and after they elevated Trey Sermon, you thought that they would scratch Caleb Johnson for yesterday's game, sort of, I guess, put him in the doghouse, say more or less, for his gaffe against the Seahawks last weekend. But Steelers elevated Sermon, did not inactive Caleb Johnson. They dressed 4 running backs yesterday, but only 2 saw the field on offense. Jaylen Warren, for the first time in his career, getting a 80% share of the offensive snaps, 43 in total. Kenneth Gainwell, he had the other 14%. So more Jaylen Warren, please. I mean, sure, things did not go to plan rushing the ball later on in the game, but still, though, very impressed with his play thus far. Some snaps on the defensive side of the ball. Steelers, they made some changes from week 2 to week 3. We were calling for some of these. Cole Holcomb, he outsnapped Peyton Wilson. I think, Wilson did have a better game in a lesser role, and Holcomb had a solid outing. I think that might be something they continue moving forward until Wilson earns that role back or Holcomb falters. Also, the safety snap share, bit interesting here. Chuck Clark, who you thought, heading into the game yesterday with Jabril Peppers in a more prominent role, you would have thought Chuck Clark would have been the Steeler safety with the least amount of snaps. He actually had the most, and then it was Jabril Peppers, and then Juan Thornhill among the 3 legitimate safeties out there for the Steelers. Juan Thornhill the least, Chuck Clark the most, Jabril Peppers somewhere in the middle. That was a bit surprising. Also, last thing here about snap counts. Derek Harmon playing his first NFL game yesterday. We heard from defensive coordinator Terrell Austin earlier in the week that if Harmon would be a go, he'd be on a judicious snap count. Harmon confirmed that himself, that he was on a limited snap count. However, I wonder what the limit for snaps was, because he played 35 snaps. And if that's a limited snap count, then hey, keep him on a limited snap count more often than not. So, yeah, that was great there to see from Derek Harmon. 35 snaps, really made his mark. Last couple of things here from the game yesterday, couple of post-game interviews. Aaron Rodgers on the field said that the defense came out and played incredible. he said that he didn't have a good game and said that the Steelers offense still has a ton to work on. No kidding there, A-Rod. Also said that Calvin Austin, the game-winning touchdown pass that he had with CA3, that was off of a subtle signal that Rodgers and Austin relayed to each other. He said he was on the same page. I didn't throw the ball, but the best ball, but Cal's so damn fast, he made a great play. So nice to see at least one in the most important time that Rodgers and his wide receiver were on the same page there. Last Steeler that we heard of yesterday, talking about the former Patriot. He was a big storyline. Jabril Peppers said that he received a game ball for the win against his old team. He said, I needed this one. I think I heard someone say post-game like 5 different New England reporters came into the Steelers locker room because Peppers is such a charismatic and likable guy that they wanted to interview him post-game as well. Peppers, about that turnover, that forced fumble that he recovered, he said that I envisioned it last night. I wanted to let the fans know I missed them, but I'm down with the Steelers now in the Steel Curtain now. So, hell yeah, Jabril Peppers, you can stay a Steeler the rest of your career. That dude seems like an absolute trip to have in the locker room, and he'll go out there and he will run some shoulder pads through chests of players as well. So, love his game, but that does it for the Steelers and the Patriots. Wasn't the prettiest game on either side of the ball. Steelers on offense couldn't capitalize off of a majority of the turnovers from the defense. Play calling was questionable on that front. Steelers defense, sure, they made splash, and sure, the big guys came out to play, Watt and Hayward, but another issue for them, 3rd and 4th down, really struggling on the money downs, as Mike Tomlin likes to say, getting off the field. They struggled with that yesterday, but they escaped with the win. On to the Minnesota Vikings. More on them in the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment here a little bit later on. But they get the win, 2-1 now on the season. Just imagine, I saw this tweet from Brooke Pryor. Just imagine if this team for once were to play complementary football, where the offense has a performance where they click on all cylinders just like they did in week 1 against the Jets. And the defense, I know it's hard to replicate 5 turnovers on a weekly basis here, but the defense, goes out there and gets some turnovers. If both sides can click, then maybe you take off this designation of a mediocre team and you can go and maybe make a run when playoffs get here. So we'll see there. On to the Vikings, to the comment section here. Real quick, a couple more comments. Al on the prowl. AR looks good, better than I thought he'd look. He was terrible last year on the Jets. Vrabel has his hands full. Rodgers still does look better than the Jets. I think when he was with the Jets, he had a ton of non-quarterback issues put on his plate. He was more or less not just the quarterback of the team. He was the de facto GM, getting his guys like Alan Lazard and before that Randall Cobb and stuff like that. So Rodgers had a lot more than just being a quarterback on his plate in New York. But here in Pittsburgh, he's coming into, we may not like how the team performs, but it's a stable situation. And I think Rodgers likes that. He knows the head coach isn't going to get fired. He's just got the guys to work with. He doesn't have to go shopping for his own ingredients here. He's just going to make whatever he wants with the stuff he's got. So I think that's why you're seeing Rodgers get off to a good start for the most part this year. Vrabel has his hands full. Yeah, I like Mike Vrabel, the head coach. But better yet, I like the idea of Mike Vrabel, the head coach. Former player, linebacker, is a, old school, tough-nosed football coach, but I don't know if he does this, on other occasions, but at least against the Steelers, he just makes questionable decisions. I think when he was with the Titans one game, Derrick Henry was an absolute unstoppable force running the ball. Then he had Ryan Tannehill throw it a bunch. That ended up costing the Titans the game. And then there really wasn't anything, massive, a massive decision that blew up in his face yesterday. But, you know, Vrabel does has his hands full, but I'm not sure if it's in the way that maybe you and I are thinking here. Jamal McCollum here, dude. Come to Game Blitz with Izzy 6 Steelers at 9 p.m. Come give your opinions. Everyone welcome. Sounds good. Jamal, out on the prowl again. The entire league has a middle of the field problem. I've never seen defenses this bad, and it's not just us. I hope you're right. I just, please, they did it a bunch in week 1. They did it a little bit in week 2, but today it was just middle of the field and like not even real. It's just a figment of our imagination, the middle of the field. I'm interested to see. I haven't seen anyone post it yet. Aaron Rodgers' spray chart with his throws. I want to know how much he threw to the middle of the field. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 6 of you in here right now. Welcome to the live stream. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, like, share, and leave a comment in the comment section. Just real quick before we continue on here with the Pittsburgh sports news, see if we have anything new popping on X. See if there's any new news that we have to talk about here. Seeing a ton of Pittsburgh Pirates and Pittsburgh Penguins stuff. We're going to start a quick conversation about the Pittsburgh Penguins here in a moment. They, in less than 40 minutes, are going to take the ice against the Montreal Canadiens in their first preseason game of the year. Not seeing much here, so we are going to get into some Pittsburgh Penguins news right now. Like I mentioned, tonight they begin game 1 of the preseason against the Montreal Canadiens. I know I said last week that Penguins hockey was back with training camp beginning, but tonight literally is first preseason game. Yesterday, rosters for this game were revealed, and it was filled, the Penguins roster, that is, a mixture of prospects still getting their footing for pro hockey and legit NHLers who may be jockeying for spots on the opening night roster. Some of the names to keep tabs on tonight. Just going to go through the whole lineup here. Robbie Fabry, number 12. I think, you know how for the Steelers, we talk, or Steelers fans, we latch on to that one like undrafted free agent guy who has like some super great talent, but he's, kind of bad with everything else, that you say, watch, I'm latching my wagon to this guy as being a sleeper pick to make the team. I'm not saying this guy is, elite or bad at anything here, but Robbie Fabry, he's kind of like that guy, a dude who won the Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues. Injuries sort of, derailed his career a good bit, but now late signing, I think on a PTO with the Pens, could be a guy to watch, to make this team out of training camp if he puts together a good couple of preseason games. Also playing tonight, Boko Amama, love him. Una Koppanen, Tommy Novak, number 18, he is in the lineup tonight. We still do not know what we have in him. Pens acquired him from Nashville at the trade deadline last year for Michael Bunting and a couple other pieces in that deal, but came here to Pittsburgh, I believe bounced between the 3rd and 4th line and then got injured. Used to have high upside with the Predators. That sort of dimmed a little bit. Pens still don't know what we have in him, so maybe we get an inkling to that answer tonight. Sam Poulin, former first-round pick, also playing tonight, number 22. I think he's running out of time to stick in the NHL, in my opinion. I believe he was he the first? No, I want to say Poulin. He wasn't the first round pick of the Dubas era. I want to say he was the last first round pick of the Ron Hextall era. So, yeah, Sam Poulin. I know he's gone through some stuff in the AHL, has uh, you know, taken breaks from hockey at times, but I think it's reaching now or never time for him to make his case for the NHL. Tristan Brose, number 26, he's in the lineup tonight, lit it up in the AHL last year. He could reach the NHL at some point this year. I know fans and people inside the Pens organization are high on him. Anthony Mantha, new Penguin, is in the lineup tonight. Danton Heinen, Valtteri Puustinen, they're there as well. Number 49, Raphael Harvey Pinard, former Montreal Canadian, was a solid prospect for them. He plays his old squad tonight. Ben Kindle, Penn's number 1 overall pick in this year's draft. He is in the lineup tonight, wearing number 81. Solid number he picked for them. Maybe he can be just as big of an impact for the Pens as the last wearer of 81. And then last 2 forwards here in tonight's lineup for the Pens, Atlee Calvert and then Avery Hayes. Hayes, like Brose, another AHL guy who lit it up last year. You could see him at some point in the NHL. Defense tonight for the Pens, Ryan Shea, Matt Dumba, new Penguin. He's going to be in the lineup tonight. Pens acquired him from the Dallas Stars. I'm very curious about him. Used to be a solid top 4 defenseman with the Wild. Went to Dallas. Things didn't really work out there. Now he's in Pittsburgh. I think, as a right shot defenseman, he's clearly behind Erik Karlsson and Chris Letang right now. So I wonder, what his role is going to be with this team. And I wonder, how he's going to contribute, honestly. Then another other defenseman you got in the lineup tonight. You got the teammate Punisher, Ryan Graves, Owen Pickering, and Harrison Brunick. They should both be in the lineup tonight. Very excited to hear and maybe watch back later what those two do. I think they are the top 2 defensive prospects in the Pens organization, and they have been paired together in training camp thus far. Final 2 defensemen for the Pens tonight, Finn Harding, another prospect, and another new Penguin in Connor Clifton. The goaltenders tonight for the Black and Gold, Sergei Murashov and Yoel Blomqvist. So the 2 youngsters, the 2 excellent goaltending prospects with high upside, they they both will split time. Blomqvist will get the start, and he said Murashov will come in at some point later on in the game. If I had to guess, they'll probably find, some spot in the second period. It'll be a whistle or something around the midway point of the period. Blomqvist will come out. Murashov will come in. But 2 excellent young goaltenders that you are going to want to watch or at least listen to tonight. Reason why I say listen to. I think the bad news for tonight's game, the game can only be listened to on the Penguins' official flagship radio station, 105.9, the X, unless it, for some reason, is going to be aired on NHL Network or either of the team's official websites. So we'll need to check that out after the live stream tonight. But, Pens in action tonight. First preseason game against the Montreal Canadiens. Even though we cannot watch this game, good news, we found out today, surprise, the Sportsnet Pittsburgh, they will be airing and will be on air for Marc-Andre Fleury's final game as a Penguin coming up on Saturday, the 27th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, saw 10 of you in here just a moment ago. Let's go to the comments section. It is blowing up, and we have got some commenters in there going off. Freight Train, welcome back, Freight Train. Out here coming in late, buying a new car. That's exciting, Freight Train. What you buying? Don't mean to be, too nosy there, but sounds like an exciting endeavor right there. Freight Train Malkin now saying he might continue play and hopes to stay in the Berg. Yes, we did cover that. Not sure if we covered that on Friday or Thursday, but yes, Gino said that if he has a good year, he would like to continue playing. However, him wanting to continue playing and staying in Pittsburgh, that's a two-way street. Depends. They too got to commit to bringing him back at that point. If I still had to guess, you know what's going to happen here? Dubas still going to meet with Gino and his agent over the Olympic break in February, I believe. Malkin may want to continue playing, but I think Kyle Dubas, he is set in his way for a good reason. For a good reason. He is set concretely in, I'm going to do whatever it takes to build back this Penguins in my image without any sort of shortcuts taken. So I think Dubas, Gino may want to continue playing, may want to come back, but I'm not sure the Penguins, which I think they're still going to be in a rebuild after this year, are going to be in a place to, give a roster spot to a 40-year-old Gino on the last legs of his career. So, maybe we see Gino finish out this year and then go give back to his country a little bit, play a couple of years in the KHL before he hangs him up for good. And yes, Freight Train, that was real. Al on the prowl again. Good time to be a sports fan. Yeah, really, this is, I think, the biggest sports time of the year because you got football, full swing right now, both NFL and college. Hockey, right around the corner, starts here in early October. October as well, you got the NBA starting up here soon enough. And then on top of that, the most exciting baseball of the year in the postseason. Unfortunately, it's the most predictable thing ever, because you got the same teams more often than not every single year. The Yankees, the Dodgers, all that, the Phillies. So, but yeah, all four major North American sports, they are going to be in full swing here. Hockey and the NBA starting up, football in full swing, and then baseball in the postseason. Montreal is good at getting rid of good players. Talking about did Bergeron retire? So starting here, Montreal good at getting rid of good players. You're talking about Raphael Harvey-Pinard, who I mentioned is going to play them tonight. Don't know too much about Harvey-Pinard. I thought he was a solid prospect for them, and then really the Canadiens, they are one of the most young talent stacked teams in the NHL. So they're gonna see a couple of good prospects go off to other teams because they got so much in the NHL. And Bergeron, who are you referring to here? Are you referring to Patrice Bergeron? If so, I think he is long retired by 2 years now. Real quick before I get to Darren there, Freight Train again. Mitsubishi Outlander, 23 Outlander, needed an all-wheel drive and wanted a loaded outride. Nice there, Freight Train. Solid choice there. I also here in Pittsburgh, I listen to 93.7 The Fan more often than not. That is like one of the cars that they always promote there. Honestly, like they say, go get this Mitsubishi Outlander at this dealership now. Like, sounds like a solid car to get. Darren Clayton here. Arthur Smith and Terrell Austin both are horrible. Their play calling is horrible. No lies detected there. I think the high end talent on the defense bailed out Terrell Austin more than he schemed up a good play. For example, I mentioned this in the loser part of the winner and losers of yesterday's game. How do you constantly see Hunter Henry and Keishon Booty just go and stop there right in the middle of the field or come to a damn near complete stop, and then your linebackers aren't jumping in front of them or on top of them to knock the ball away. They get easy catches to the middle of the field all the time. And then Arthur Smith, I mean, I'm starting to lean more and more towards his heavy run and screen pass game was meant to, protect the offensive line, but still, you're allowed to take a risk and throw in a play designed to the middle of the field to mix things up, because the Patriots picked up on it, the screen and the run game as the game went on. They picked up on what you were doing. Adapt a little bit. Let's change it up here. So, come on. X Concepts, welcome back. Concepts, SCSR, hope you're doing well this Victory Monday. It is a Victory Monday. Not the most jubious, or jubilous, however the hell you say that. It's not the most exciting Victory Monday where you're like, hell yeah, Steelers back on the right track, excited for next weekend's game. It's not that, but it is a Victory Monday nonetheless. We can be, for 5 minutes after yesterday's ball game, hell yeah, won the ball game, but now back to the drawing board here. How can the Steelers fix these issues that just seemingly will not go away? So, for the price, you can't beat it. They're loaded and not expensive. Absolutely, their freight train, X Concepts again. Outlanders are solid cars. Catalytic converter issues like crazy. Work on them all the time. All cars have their own issues, though. Yep, indeed, Concepts. Talking about Outlanders here. Did not expect the stream to go that way. Concepts again. My bad. Not sports related. It's all right. 5 turnovers is crazy. Drake May will be a good quarterback. Good win for sure. We need Elliott back bad. Yeah, Deshaun Elliott and Joey Porter Jr. back would be sights for sore eyes on that defense. 5 turnovers, absolutely insane. I think that, however, that we know that that's not going to be sustainable. We know that this is probably going to be their only time where you just see the defense go out there and create turnovers like crazy. So, yeah, May going to be a good quarterback. Defense, 5 turnovers. Good win, but very, very ugly. Lots to work on. It's all right, Freight Train. All right. 10 of you in here right now. Welcome to the live stream. If you are new here to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, like, share, and leave a comment in the comments section. Super chats and all that now enabled. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And be sure to come back, tune into SCSR 60 later on tonight. Last comment here from Freight Train before we get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news of the day. Freight Train, we basically ran no slants to the inside. Quick passes on the slant could have produced a few first downs. Yeah, I called for that yesterday's game. I said, even line up Metcalf in the slot one time, or use someone there, throw a quick slant. I want to say Calvin Austin caught a quick slant later on in the game, and I was like, yes, finally they threw something to the middle of the field, something quick to let the defense know, hey, we're still mainly going with the screen game, but we can also break one off inside here. So yeah, just it doesn't have to be every single time to the middle of the field. Just don't abandon it completely here. Like, it's not that hard. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news of the day here, and we are going to head over to baseball here for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get the Pirates out of the way. Since we last spoke on Friday, they had a 3-game series against the Oakland Athletics, their final home series of the 2025 season. Friday night, Mitch Keller on the bump for the Bucks. The Pirates got out to a hot start, wound up being 3-0 after the first inning. Spencer Horwitz doubled in Jared Triolo. That made it 1-0. Then singles from Brian Reynolds and Andrew McCutchen, plus an error from the Athletics, made it 3-0. So Mitch Keller getting some run support. Then as the game went on, the Athletics ended up making it 3-1. Mitch Keller had 11 consecutive outs, but then Nick Kurtz, who is a solid first base prospect for the Athletics. I like this kid coming out of the draft. I want to say it was 2 years ago. Nick Kurtz out of the draft I want to say the Athletics took him 6th or 7th. Baglione, who is another first base prospect. He's with the KC Royals. If either of those two would have fallen to the Steelers at fallen to the Pirates at number 9, I would have been over the moon. Unfortunately, both of them got picked before the Bucs selection. Bucs ended up taking Connor Griffin. Still no complaints there. Anyways, Kurtz homered. Then, as Mitch Keller's day was winding down, a back-breaking 3-run home run on one of the final batters of his outing, Lawrence Butler, outfielder, another young guy for the A's, a 3-run home run. That ended up making it 4-3. The Bucs could not recover from that. They ended up scoring 3 runs in the first, but then the Bats completely silent from there. Tommy Pham, a game-ending double play with the tying run at third base. On to Saturday's game, a very great thing we saw, ladies and gentlemen. I think, I was live streaming. Well, not, live streaming when this happened, but we talked about it. The scary situation that happened earlier this year with the young 21-year-old fan who fell from the top of the Clemente wall, ended up seriously injuring himself. The game was stopped. Lots of people were very shook up, players included, from that. Well, some good news. That kid, Caven Markwood is his name, on the road to recovery. He's had quite the comeback throughout the first pitch for Saturday's game. So that was very great to see him do that. Pirates then, they went out, played a solid game for Caven. Bubba Chandler got the start, his second. Is that his second or his third? I think it was his third major league start. Anyway, Bubba Chandler, after that dud of a first big league start, went out and had another solid outing, 5 scoreless innings for Chandler, 1 hit allowed, did hit a batter and walked, did not walk anyone, 6 strikeouts, only threw 68 pitches. That's all right. Season means nothing at this point. Just put your top pitchers in bubble wrap until next year. Anyways, Pirates ended up winning that game 2-0. Nick York and Brian Reynolds, they were credited with the runs scored on a pair of home runs. Chandler, after Chandler pitched, then came in Braxton Ashcraft for 3 innings, and then Dennis Santana closed it out, a combined 1-hit shutout for the Pirates. Chandler now in his last 2 starts, by the way, 11 innings pitched, 3 hits, just 1 earned run, no walks, 13 strikeouts. Seems like he's adapting well to MLB hitters. And then yesterday's ball game, ladies and gentlemen, we were live covering the Steelers game while that game was going on, and we missed quite the game. The Pirates, a rout of the Athletics, a 11-0 victory that you see right now on your screen. The Pirates, that was their league-leading 19th shutout of the season, the most lopsided shutout that they have had since 2019. Looks like everyone got in on the fun. Joey Bart, Jared Triolo, they both had solid games. I think both of them actually finished a triple shy of the cycle. And Andrew McCutchen, he had an RBI single and was celebrated accordingly. If you missed it, I had to go back and watch the videos. McCutchen, his final at-bat of the ball game, took his time out before he even got in the batter's box. Fans, accordingly, there gave him a thunderous standing ovation. Kutch drinking in the moment of what could possibly be his final at-bat at PNC Park. If that was it, his final at bat at PNC Park, I gotta say thank you to Kutch. Even though the team for most of my life has sucked, those years, when I was 12 years old through 2013 through the 2015 years, you were the head of that. Couldn't thank you enough for giving that brief commercial break of success and happiness and joy watching the Pirates and being a Pirates fan. That Kutch was certainly the top guy there. After the game and after that moment, Kutch said, "We'll see what happens. Obviously, a lot of that stuff is out of my control," talking about his future with the Pirates. "I need to do my part. Obviously, I do want to continue playing." Kutch, I believe he's now, 38 years old. I think, if the Pirates are still going to continue to suck and not even try to win, even though they say the right things in the media, but they do the complete and total opposite. If you're going to suck and intentionally do so, at least bring back Kutch. At least, bring in likable guys and icons to this city. Kutch there saying that he wants to continue playing. If he wants to come back, bring him back. But do you really have any sort of faith or confidence in this, front office to say, "Hey, Kutch, we'll bring you back again here"? Like, I think now they're going to cut bait with him when you're supposed to go all in towards a championship. Or forget a championship, towards a freaking playoff berth, or at least contending for one here. But if that was it for Kutch, that sucks. Anyways, Pirates off tonight. They will start a new series tomorrow night in Cincinnati against the Cincinnati Reds. And even though the Pirates, they have nothing really of value to play for, the Reds over the weekend, they swept the Chicago Cubs, and they right now are in a wild card spot. So the Pirates, they could do the funniest thing. They've been notorious for doing this, especially against this team. Go ahead and play spoiler to the Cincinnati Reds. I believe the matchup tomorrow night, Johan Oviedo for the Pirates against Brady Singer for the Reds. Last couple of things here for the Pirates. Got a bunch of stuff going on here. Paul Skeens, he spoke out, I believe, on Friday. A wasted year if we don't learn what we need to do. Looks like Skeens is starting to speak his mind more. Excellent. And telling, I think that shot, that quote, we all know who it's directed at. We all know who that quote is meant for. Tells you, Ben Cherington, Bob Nutting, please figure it the hell out. Let's get this team winning again, or at least competing, past the first 2 months of the season. Reason why I say, Ben Cherington, get his stuff together. It doesn't sound like he's going to go anywhere. He had his radio show over the weekend, said this about his future with the Pirates. He said, "I'm certainly doing the job that way," meaning that he's going to be back here as GM in 2026. "We talk all the time. Haven't heard anything to the contrary. I don't know if any of us in this room ever have full assurance of anything, but I want to help the Pirates win more games. That's it. I don't do the job because of the job. I do the job because I want to be a part of making this thing work. Winning more games, being able to leave PNC Park at night feeling better, and everyone feeling better. That's why I do it. I still want to do it. I badly want to do it." What did I just tell you guys? They will say the right things. I want to win bad. I want to win so bad. I want to, fill up the ballpark and have us win on a nightly basis. But then he'll go out there and he'll sign the Tommy Phams, which I don't mean to disrespect Tommy Pham. He's been the Pirates' better hitter for the second half of the year. But he'll go out there and he'll get these retreads either guys past their prime or players on teams who flamed out there because the Pirates are some oasis of reclamation for players, and it never works. They've done the same thing for 3 years now, and it never works. And it sounds like they're from Charrington. I want this to work. Do you really believe he's going to do anything different? So that's that. Some extra Pittsburgh Pirates sports news, Pittsburgh Pirates news. Aside from that, wrapping up baseball talk for the day here. A couple of minor league things to talk about. Connor Griffin, he tonight named Baseball America's Minor League Player of the Year. Griffin becomes just the second Pirates player to win the award. Mike Bielecki in 1984 was the last Pirate to do so. Honestly, couldn't have been a more deserving guy to get that award. Best minor league player. I think he started the year, if I remember correctly, as the 27th prospect in all of baseball, and just a rocket on his back throughout the year to where he is the clear-cut consensus number one prospect in baseball. Congratulations to Griffin there. Griffin, by the way, his baseball season brought to an end on Friday. We mentioned that the Altoona Curve, they were going into a winner-go-home Game 3 against the Erie Seawolves in the league semifinals. Unfortunately, Curve did not win that game. They lost 3-1. So Griffin, his season is over, and across 3 different levels of competition, low A, high A, and the last one, double A, Griffin got some hope for this kid for the future. He finishes his season a .333 batting average, 21 home runs, 94 RBIs, 117 runs scored, and 65 stolen bases. That is a hell of a year. Every single level through the minor leagues he's gone to, he's excelled and has earned himself a quick call-up. I know he's, I think, going to turn 19 in April, or turn 20 in April of next year. But as soon as that kid turns 20, I know it's hard for, prospects to quickly, get to the MLB before they're 19. But this kid clearly, give him a couple weeks, he figures it out at a new level, and he excels. So if he does well out of training camp, put him on the big league roster, dare I say, because you need all the help you can get offensively. If not, stick him in AAA. I'm sure after a couple of months, he'll start mashing there, and then you can call him up midway through the season. A couple other things related to Pirate prospects. Congratulations to Nelson Velasquez with the Indianapolis Indians. He was named the International Player of the Week. And I believe this is the last thing here for Pirates prospects today. Congratulations as well to Bucco's pitching up Hunter Barco. He is their number 4 overall prospect in their system, and he is the number 82 prospect in MLB Pipeline's top 100. In both AA and AAA combined this year, Barco, he has had a 4-1 record, a 2.81 ERA, a 10.5 strikeout per 9 innings ratio in 99 in 2/3 innings pitched. So this kid is legit. He's the best pitching prospect we got behind Bubba Chandler, lefty pitcher, and I'm sure some way, shape, or form he will make his MLB debut before the end of the season. To the comment section real quick. A couple more comments here. Concepts here. Going to get back into some football talk right now. Concepts, though. Cam said defenders are leaving their assignments to play hero ball, that they need to be more disciplined in that area. Makes sense with all the gap issues and random big plays. What's your thoughts? Yeah, I did see Cam saying that players are, getting out of position, trying to make a play instead of doing their job. I honestly think that that's one of the issues that got Minka traded away. He wanted to make plays more than, just do what he was instructed to do on a play. That is an issue. players need to not be selfish and just do their job. Hopefully, they realize it's a, 11-man unit out there on the field and not a one-man. So hopefully that's something that gets out of their system sooner rather than later. That's what I've heard a lot about Queen, especially on X. Just please get 5 to 10 games over 500 next season. Now, that is a lofty goal there, Freight Train. Talking about the Pirates, 5 to 10 games over 500 next season. I just appreciate them being 5 to 10 games under 500. Like, how do you go? I think their record the past 2 seasons was 76 and 86. And this year, you're going to be worse than that. At least be 5 to 10 games under 500 by this point next season. Because if you're hovering around 500, you're more likely than not still going to be in the playoff race. So, yeah, just please figure it out, Pirates. The Buccos, if the Buccos get there next season, we have a shot. Yeah, just get them to the dance. If you get to the dance, anything's possible, especially with this Pirates pitching rotation in baseball. We say, like in football, in that defense wins championships. In baseball, pitching, if it strikes right at the right time in the postseason, it will carry you to the promised land. And the Pirates, Skeens, Chandler, when he's not second half Mitch and more first half Mitch Keller, Johan Oviedo seems to be on a solid track back to a decent form. Mike Burrows is an underrated guy. Jared Jones will be healthy, hopefully by this time next year. Just, get into the dance. And the pitching will get you a shot. You just got to have the offense good enough to get you there. That's all I'm saying. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue here with some extra Pittsburgh sports news. Football. Going to stick with football here. I did mention, I think it was Al on the Prowl earlier who brought up the Minnesota Vikings. I told you, Al, we were going to get back to them. Looking ahead to this upcoming weekend's matchup, Steelers against the Vikings. The black and gold, they will not see this young man, but interestingly enough, quarterback J.J. McCarthy will travel to Ireland with the Vikings. Still, I think, now entering into week 2 of a 2 to 4 week recovery time for an high ankle sprain. The Vikings do play 2 games over there in Ireland, 2 back-to-back across the pond games. But McCarthy traveling over there thought was interesting. And speaking of the Vikings, I'm not going to act like I went back and watched their game against the Bengals from yesterday, but it sounded like that they are a better unit with Carson Wentz at QB than J.J. McCarthy through 2 games, judging by the final score, which was 48-10 in favor of the Vikings. I saw they had 2 defensive touchdowns. Wentz, pretty accurate throwing the ball. He used his tight ends a lot. And let's not forget who their defensive coordinator is. That is former Steelers coach Brian Flores. And his defense, they put the pressure on the opposing quarterback. So an offense with a QB guru head coach that can put up points at will with the right quarterback. And that quarterback used the tight ends last week. Plus a defense led by an aggressive, innovative defensive coordinator whose defense can get turnovers and put pressure on the opposing quarterback. Doesn't look like it's a good recipe, and it sounds like a lot of things that the Steelers have issues with heading into next weekend. So, Al, I believe you said that that you have confidence that the Steelers can beat the Vikings. At least, 6 days away from that game right now. That makes one of us. So we'll see what happens between now and that early Sunday morning game. That may change my mind. Looking even further than that, looking at the Steelers' Week 6 matchup against the Cleveland Browns. The Browns yesterday, they defeated the Packers 13-10. They had a game-winning walk-off field goal. Come on, Packers. I thought you guys were good and you sold to the Browns. Come on. Anyways, something to look forward to in that matchup a couple of weeks from now. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski today confirmed that starting right tackle, DeWand Jones, an absolute mountain of a man out of Ohio State. He is out for the season with an injury that I do not remember what it is, but whatever it is, it's season ending. So it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, a favorable matchup for TJ Watt. He will be going up against a backup at right tackle for the Browns twice this year now. All right, couple other Steeler notes here, ladies and gentlemen. Heading into the college football world here for a minute, the Steelers, they were back at it again, scouting quarterbacks for this upcoming 2026 draft class. 2 quarterbacks confirmed to be on the Steelers' radar for this past weekend. A scout on Saturday was confirmed at the Illinois versus Indiana game, and that scout got quite the show from a fast-rising QB prospect in Indiana's Fernando Mendoza. Mendoza, do not know much about this kid, but I certainly am going to do a bunch of more work on him now. 21 for 23, 267 yards, and 5 passing touchdowns with no interceptions. Outstanding. I think that final of that game was like 63-10 Indiana. They just poured it on. Domination. Another scout was also confirmed in Miami, watching Miami Hurricanes quarterback Carson Beck, the former Georgia Bulldog. Wasn't the most impressive performance for Beck. 17 for 30, 116 yards, and an INT. I do think Miami did ultimately win that game, but Beck had a couple of solid weeks to start the college season. This past weekend, not the best for him. And winding things down here for the Steelers, do I have any other? Yes, right here as well. Wanted to mention this on stream yesterday, but did not get to it. Patrick Queen, we just talked about him a couple moments ago. His wallet a little bit lighter, had to pay a thought that was worth noting. Last Steelers extra news story here for the day. Yesterday, how about it? A bad day to be a former Pittsburgh Steeler running back. Arizona Cardinals, James Conner carted off the field yesterday, suffered a season-ending ankle injury that will require surgery. And then the most recent ex-Steelers running back, Najee Harris for the LA Chargers, non-contact injury, tears his Achilles. His season, and probably even some of next season, it is over. So that absolutely sucks for Naj, and it sucks for James Conner. Both guys who, unfortunately, their time in Pittsburgh didn't work out, but, you know, personality and character-wise, I think we can agree that they are very, very likable. Sucks that they suffered that fate, their seasons ending the way that they did. So that sucks. Real quick, before we get back into the comment section, just wrapping up some extra hockey news here. Matter of fact, that game between the Canadiens and Penguins probably starting right now. Some news over the weekend for the Penguins. They did continue some training camp practices. Taylor Gauthier, a goaltender for the Penguins, solid AHL tendy. He is going to be sidelined longer term due to an undisclosed injury. Signed to an AHL contract, back-to-back years now. That Gauthier, I think probably, you know, the third best goaltending prospect behind Blomqvist and Murashov. It's the second year in a row that he has had an injury in training camp. That sucks for him. Pens continue training camp practices over the weekend and into today. Today, I think it was just, you know, a light skate with whoever was left in Pittsburgh that didn't travel to the preseason game to play there. Nick Bonino, Penn's assistant coach, working on faceoffs. We know that Bones was one of the best at faceoffs for the Pens back when he played. And also Sidney Crosby. When does this guy not do anything hockey, spending some extra time out there on the ice today with New Penn's goaltender Arthur's Shalovs. So that's always a good sight to see. Sid doing extra work with the new goalie. And the last extra Pittsburgh news story here for the day, a very nice gesture from the National Hockey League Friday night. Former Penguins general manager Ray Shero passed away earlier this year. The NHL naming him the recipient of the 2025 Lester Patrick Trophy for his outstanding service to hockey and the United States. Shero couldn't have deserved that anymore, alive or onto the great beyond. He was one of those guys, eat, slept, and breathed hockey, very deserving of that award. All right, to the comments section one final time before we hop off here tonight. Concepts again in the comments section. Pirates just need to score more than 3 runs per game. That Skeen stat is wild. Yep, they can score 3 or 4 or more runs a game. They'd be in much better position than they are right now. That's one thing I think people gave the Pirates a lot of flack for. I'm not sure if it was yesterday's game or Saturday's game that they won. The Pirates put out there our league-leading 18th or 19th shutout of the season, and fans were like, oh, you lead the league in shutout wins. That must mean that you're in contention for, a playoff spot. No way, you're way in last place in your division and so far out of a playoff spot. And another thing the Pirates didn't mention is that I think they're tied with the Colorado Rockies. They also lead the league in getting shut out most times. So they're leading in both ends of that double-edged sword right there. So NFL fines are a joke. Should fine the refs for being trash at their jobs. Yeah, full-time NFL referees are they need to happen. Like, they miss so much, and then the players, they ended up getting blindsided by fines after the fact. So that's crazy. So sad for Najee. Artificial turf should be banned. I miss Najee, and our offense is missing Najee. 4 yards per carry isn't as easy as some fans claim it was. Najee and Warren together were an amazing duo. Yeah, but the thing is that, if Najee would have stayed here, I don't necessarily think that, Mike Tomlin would give Jaylen Warren the lion's share of the snaps. I think more than we realize, they look at, all right, who's the first round pick and who's the undrafted free agent. They still would have given Najee, I think, more reps over Warren. If it was the other way around, if Warren, gets more carries than Najee on a consistent basis, then yeah, that would have been a great duo. But the Steelers still missing Najee a bunch right now. And it sucks, that injury. Just hopefully Caleb Johnson can develop into that big bruising back someday. I'm not going to go down the Caleb Johnson rabbit hole here today. Didn't play on Sunday, so no reason to bring him up or slander him right now. But at least Jaylen Warren is making the best out of what he's given right now. Going to take one last stroll here through Twitter, see if there is anything else going on. Looks like we have an injury update here, and it is about the upcoming game for the Steelers. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell confirms rookie left guard Donovan Jackson out with an injury. Guard Blake Brandel will step in at left guard. So Cam Hayward, he's going to be going up against a backup left guard this week. There's a positive matchup for the Steelers. They'll need a lot more help, to pull this one out. But that's a start at least. In here, not seeing if it's not seeing anything here yet for the Penguins game. Let me see here. Pittsburgh. Penguins.com. That game, wow, it just started. They're not even a minute and a half into the game. So puck drop, I guess, was at 7:08 or something? I guess. Anyways, why don't we wrap it up right here for the night, ladies and gentlemen. On here for over an hour and a half. Had a lot to talk about from the Steelers game yesterday, from the Pittsburgh Pirates weekend series with the Athletics, and about the Pittsburgh Penguins and their ongoing game right now, preseason game with the Montreal Canadiens. With that, I'm going to call it a stream there. Lots to talk about today. I think we hit on most of it, and I'm sure following tonight's game with the Pens and the Canadiens, and then Mike Tomlin's press conference tomorrow afternoon, we'll have more to talk about tomorrow. So, going to call it there. Have a good rest of your Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me one last time. Please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Like this live stream, share this live stream, leave a comment in the comment section after the fact. Go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. There it is right there. And come back a little bit later on tonight for SCSR 60. Thank you. Thank you for the comment there. Concepts, appreciate you guys always coming in. You, Freight Train, Jamal McCollum, on the prowl, you guys coming in here, regular viewers of mine. I appreciate your comments, and I will see you all back here tomorrow. Let's do it again tomorrow night, same time, around 5:30ish. See you then. Have a good rest of your Monday night. Peace.